Frontier opening bell for Tuesday, the 4th of July, starts today. Of course, you know already it's an Independence Day in the United States, so the markets on Wall Street will be closed. But here on FOB, we focus a whole lot more on the African continent. The Nigerian stock market continued its roller coaster rally on Monday to start the month of July and the second half of the year by 1.61%. We saw a big jump in the shares of Stanbic IBTC Holdings, as well as MTN and a few other big names. There were big size transactions in the banking space as well as across the markets mainly. So you've got yourself the Nigerian market index now around 22% since the year 2023 started. Quite a roller coaster, just the index standing at the doorsteps of 62,000, level not seen since the market boom of 2005 through to 2007. The BRVM next door went up just one notch, 199.99, just holding it below the 200 level for the composite for the regional exchange called the BRVM in Cote d'Ivoire. The Egyptian market remained closed. Zimbabwe stock market fell 1.7% on Monday as investors begin to pull back from that Olympian jump that we saw since the start of the year, 800% on the Zimbabwe stock market. Profit booking, Zimbabwe is on the edge as they see the stock market rallying more than ever before. Inflation is beginning to tick up as well now, back in the triple digit in the Southern African economy. The Nairobi stock market better by 0.75%. The NSE All-Share Index up at 107.79, while the GSE was up by about 0.3% at 76,233.9. Those were the numbers for you across a few of the markets that we cover for you on a daily basis here on the show. Let's get it on with the East African corridor. What are the big headlines as we get Tuesday on the way? Kenya raising fuel prices despite a court order that says don't do it. But the President Ruto's administration would have to manage the crisis being faced because there will be a pain at the pump for folks in East African community because Saudi Arabia has extended its voluntary 1 million barrels per day oil cut back into the month of August. OPEC group also made a similar decision on Monday, and Russia also followed suit with additional 500,000 into the month of August. Algeria in North Africa also decided to extend its cut by 20,000 barrels per day from the first of this month till the end. So quite a whole lot of cutback, chop, as it were, from the global oil producers. And of course, that all to stimulate demand. Oil prices jumping. US West Texas intermediates breaching $70 a barrel early this morning, Tuesday, the 4th of July. Keep that in mind. The GCR in South Africa has signed positive outlook to Shelter Afrique, which is headquartered in Nairobi, Kenya. Kenya is the largest shareholder, followed by Nigeria. Two of the sovereigns that are the key shareholders of these mass housing institution, special DFI that's headquartered in Nairobi. And Uganda has become Kenya's fastest growing source of diaspora dollars. How does it really work out? You've got Ugandans working in Kenya and they're sending money back home to Uganda just next door because they've got businesses and employment to do in Kenya. And that's quite some good news, by the way. Intra-Africa diaspora money. Keep it within the continent in the manner of speaking. And Congo is looking to raise fuel prices as well, but 25% is how the fuel price will go up effective July the 15th to meet some of those requirements that the IMF is placed on the table of the Congolese authorities to access the next round of funding facility from the Washington-based institution. Keep those economic and business headlines in view for today. Let's get on to the West African markets and the corridor here, where the Central Bank of Nigeria re-entered the OTC FX futures market yesterday with quotations now between 15 to 60 months, that's about 5 years, providing some measure of liquidity and confidence into the market that the Nigerian market will be able to meet those over-the-counter futures demand when they fall due between 15 months to 60 months as the new Nigerian administration continue to rejig the FX markets a bit away from what we've seen over the last 8 to 10 years. We'll talk about OPEC a little bit earlier. Africa's global institutional investors have signed a subscription a deal for Africa's 50 Infrastructure Fund. It was done at the opening of the 3-day annual general meetings of the Africa 50 in Lome, Togo, next door to Nigeria on Monday. That's provided for further investment and the rollover of existing investment in Infrastructure Fund for Africa that Africa 50 is holding in pocket for the AFDB. That's a subsidiary that Africa 50 is of the African Development Bank Group. Very congratulations to those folks. The annual meetings continue today to tomorrow. In the meantime, the AFDB Group itself says its board of directors has approved $11 million as equity stake investment in Blue Peak Private Capital Fund, which is based in Luxembourg. And that will allow this fund to provide support for various sectors in Africa, from agribusiness to pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, logistics, and others. And that is what the AFDB just announced a few days ago. The entire final close will be about $155 million to the $11 million, the coaching raiser, according to the AFDB. Those monies well needed strongly on the African continent. The Ghana city, according to Bloomberg, is among the worst spot returns in Africa since 2023 started. And congratulations to Guinea, according to the World Bank latest ranking, based on the country's GDP per capita income. Guinea in West Africa has now joined the middle income status of countries around the world. And well done, folks. Let's see what's moving the needle this Tuesday in Southern Africa. And let's touch on with quite a bit of headlines from Zimbabwe to South Africa itself, where the country's factory activity for the month of May was down at 47.6. That's no good news. Anything below 50 is a contraction. Anything above 50 is an expansion in factory manufacturing activities. So coming from 49.2 in the month of May, according to the Absa independent data, that's a negative figure that you see there as far as the PMI was concerned for Africa's most advanced economy. The world's appetite for solar panels is squeezing the silver supply globally speaking, as everyone from South Africa to elsewhere are ramping up on getting clean energy from the sun. And that means there'll be demand for solar panels. Zambia is looking to pick investors in the Mopani copper mines this July. Let's follow through how the President Ichilema's administration is moving that forward. And Zimbabwe stocks losing weight, and I said that at the start of the show, as the election fever grips President Emmerson Mnangagwa seems to be losing some of his is losing sweat over his main rival in the country's general elections. So all that in play for investors who are watching very keenly. The whole piling into the stock market ahead of these elections, and now that the elections are here, what are investors thinking the road ahead for one of Africa's big economies, breadbasket, but also a very weak fiscal situation down there. Let's get on to the Northern Africa space and grab a few headlines for you, because the markets in Cairo is still closed. We'll see when Egypt will formally rejoin the market from the long Muslim holiday. Egypt is, in the meantime, says it's executed 8 projects worth about $5 billion to expand the country's petroleum sector. And the World Food Programme has approved Egypt's country's strategic plan at about $41 million, I beg your pardon. That's roughly $500 million US. That's Egypt, North Africa's one of the biggest economies there. Suez Canal is reporting $50 billion in revenue over a 50-year period. You know, the Suez Canal is one of the Egypt's cash cow, by the way, listed on the Cairo Stock Exchange. And finally, Algeria's insurance sector reporting growth of about 4.6% in the first quarter of this year, February to the end of March. Those are some of the economic and business headlines for you this Tuesday morning. To have a profitable day, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Remember to watch this show again online at Frontier Africa Reports, and of course, you can watch all other shows on our website as well. Follow us on social media, and we'll be appreciated. Bye for now.